tremendously. One mother just came to me last week and said, "You're not going to believe this, but we're doing center circle at home now. When the kids are having issues, they're pounding and shaking each other, and they're working their problems out without me having to be involved."
Even to the mom.
Even to the mom. The one day she said she blew up at her son, and he came over and pounded her with using the center circle technique, which we'll explain in a moment. And he said, "I'm feeling frustrated with the way you're speaking to me right now." And she was like, "Oh, okay." So they talked it out, and again, as teachers, we let the kids pound us and tell us, we all have our moments when we're not on our best game, or when we say something to a child that upsets them, and letting them know that it's okay and safe to express that. They view it as mutual respect. They realize that we respect them enough to let them share their feelings, and we, respect their opportunities to work things out. So the next slide was the slide that we had our little video clips embedded in, which we obviously had some technical issues with.
We will email everything to you.
Yes, we will, because we had some 5th grade students model the techniques directly. But what happens if you're upset with somebody? You walk up to them and you pound them. Not really, just putting your fist in front of them.
Why are you pounding me?
So we start with, "Why are you pounding me?" And then the student who's pounding has to use an "I feel" statement. "I feel frustrated that you're talking when I'm trying to complete my work."
I'll think about it.
And they move on. So it's very scripted. I think that this is really manageable for kids of any age if they learn the script and practice it. It's pretty concrete. So "Why are you pounding me?" They express the "I feel" statement. They have to use the words "I feel" because your feelings are your feelings and you're entitled to them. And then the person who's being pounded has to respond 3 options. "Thank you," "I'll think about it," or "I'm sorry." No further discussion warranted. It's quick, it solves the problem, they can move on. If it's something that's bigger than that and needs to be worked out, we tend to say, "We'll continue this later. Thanks for moving on right now," and we'll pull them aside and deal.
Yesterday we actually had our center circle. We usually do it every Friday afternoon. And one of the boys in here has been really distracting a lot of kids. And as much as Kristen and I have talked to him about it, and we actually had a meeting with his mom yesterday about it and everything, he was pounded about 4 times yesterday in center circle. And he's a kid who can shut down on you, and he handled it really well. So Kristen went up to him after he'd been pounded 4 times, because how awful does that feel when you're 10 years old and your classmates are pounding you?
In front of the whole group. We do it as a whole group thing as part of our practice. So this is a public forum in front of your class. You're being called out on your behalf.
And usually he doesn't view other people's perspectives, but he was really, hearing it and receptive, and realizing that he was not just affecting my teaching or Kristen's teaching, but his classmate. So after the 4 people pounded him, Kristen actually went up to him and shook his hand.
Which is the next part.
Which you can do in a positive nature. So
why are you shaking my hand?
I feel proud of you because you worked so hard on your homework this week.
Thank you.
So Kristen shook his hand and told him that she felt proud of him, that he was receptively listening to his classmates, even though it was really hard to be pounded so many times. So and that takes a while. Like in the beginning of the year, I'm not sure one of our kids would be so receptive to that. But after they know the routine and we've been through it, and also yesterday we had an issue with 2 girls where one pounded the other, and it got upsetting. She started to cry, and that was one of the issues that we said, well, we'll go talk about it later. And we look over, ready to pull them, and they're over talking about it by the wall. So they went and led the conversation on their own, because we've been doing this for so long, and it was really amazing to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I ask you a question? Is this a certain time that you do the center circle, or is it throughout the day you can go up and pound somebody?
We start off in the beginning of the year. We do an afternoon meeting on Fridays, and that's where we practice it and rehearse it. We do it at least 1 or 2 Fridays a month. We practice it in a whole group setting. The first probably 6 weeks of school, we don't miss a Friday meeting where we have opportunities to practice.
And that's where
then
they
we tell
express
students, you can generalize this and use it in other areas of the day. If it's snack time and somebody is annoying you, that's an appropriate time to go up and pound them. If you're on the playground and one of your friends who knows center circle is excluding you, feel free to let them know. So we kind of tell them it's okay to use it other times outside the practice. But initially, initially they have to learn how to use it properly.
They also, like, someone will come up to me and say, so-and-so's talking to me while I'm trying to get my work done, and I'll say, did you pound them? And they'll go, oh, no, and then they'll go do it, and it usually solves the problem.
The third graders think it's like the greatest thing. They're like, can we do center circle today? Like, they are working toward the generalization process. When there's been issues, again, Kelly and I will say, you know, well, you need to pound him and let him know, or you need to shake his hand and let him know how you're feeling. There's been times, just recently last week, I remember Kelly was correcting a student, like, you need to stop that behavior, whatever it was. And I said, that's her way of pounding you right now, you need to listen. And so just pointing out, when I ask you to correct your behavior, you know, make sure to point out to a student that that's your way of pounding them. You might not be placing your fist in front of them, but essentially that's what it is. Or maybe you have to place your fist in front of them so that they have that visual along with your words. So it's our hope. I know it might sound a little out of the box and people are like, oh, pounding, and it sounds negative. But the kids are really responsive and receptive, and we would love to see this be one way to teach kids to problem solve and hopefully become leaders and conveying their feelings.
Kim, could you just repeat what the 3 responses were to the student being pounded?
Yep, they're, I'll think about it,
Okay.
I'm sorry, and, or thank you. I couldn't remember.
So, you know, 3 steps to making it work with students: explicitly teach it, practice it often, and model it daily. We know that our students learn most when they see us modeling what we want them to do. So, just making it a habit to daily practice these behaviors.
Kristen,
Yeah.
when you do the circle on a Friday, is that just issues that happen that day, or can someone be
No,
something
it can
up
be from like the
3
whole
days
week.
ago?
It could be from the whole week. And again, like the little kids, you know, for them, like 5th graders are capable of holding it on until Friday and then addressing it. The younger grades, you know, maybe it's something you spend 5 minutes at the end of the day doing a couple days a week or something. Or maybe during snack time, they eat their snacks and you do a quick center circle meeting. I know time and scheduling, you know, we get those issues too, but any way that you could incorporate it and give them that practice is great.
But,
And
I mean,
the other
I
kids
find
will
the time's
have
worth it because it does take away from having to.
spend time problem solving.
Yeah,
And
that is problem solving, so when you're teaching them that, I mean, this is all incorporated in our behavior management, so we don't have to stop. I mean, do we once in a while, yeah, but
Right.
we don't have to stop everything to discipline. It's incorporated in, the language incorporated in, and usually if we remind students of it or they remind each other, it ends up, you know, where we can stay focused on learning instead.
And I have to say, like, I'm not a yeller, so to speak, but there's been times where I'll say things, and I said something to a student earlier on in the year without realizing that my words hurt that child, and the child came back to me and I was like, whoa, like I was blown away. I did not realize that I had hurt somebody's feelings, and it's kind of good reflective practice for us when our students are reminding us of how we interact with them, because I would never hurt a child on purpose, and I felt awful after and was like, I definitely need to be careful with how I word things to the kids. Because you become like family when you're spending so many hours together, and sometimes you're a little more candid than maybe you should be, or at least I am, I guess. I just recently heard this, and I was, again, fascinated. The biggest lie we tell children: sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Again, that's something I've said to kids when they've come to me. He called me a blah, blah, blah. And, you know, that's the old saying that we were all taught, and I've repeated those words, and really, words hurt kids more than anything. And you often remember the words that somebody said to you. So, teaching kids that words are just as hurtful as physical actions through center circle and problem solving can be really helpful. We believe that, you know, creating leaders will rid the hurt. If we teach them good character, hopefully it'll eliminate some of the hurtful things that happen among students in their interactions.